Good evening. You're watching Lookuptv. My name is Louis. That means it's time for the news.
The news headlines in association with
We are coming for you, effective immediately.
Tonight on Lookup News, Kithure Kindiki puts criminal gangs on notice. 9 police officers accused of killing baby Pendo in 2017 to take their plea next week. The director behind the Westlands demolition is arrested as the High Court issues summons against him.
Yippee! Kamata floating at 349k. Oh yes, for only 349,000 Kenyan shillings, you become a plot owner at the Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki. The Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki is located along the Nanyuki-Rumuruti Road, only 11 minutes from the Cedar Mall and right opposite Mount Kenya Wildlife Estate. This is the best place to establish the getaway home that you have always dreamt about. For every 349,000 that you deposit or pay as installment towards any of Optivent's plot of land, you get 10k cash back instantly. Jaza basi twende Nanyuki. Bigger is indeed better.
The city of Nairobi has become increasingly unsafe. So many incidents reported every other day, regardless of time and hour, people being stabbed, attacked ruthlessly without any reason and actually without any indication. And we have gangs roaming around unabated. Kindiki Kithure was very enthusiastic during his vetting, and he said he would step up and sort this out and stop this thuggery. Well, now he's officially the CS Internal Security, and we want to find out, as Cabinet Secretary, will he curb this thuggery that has threatened to go out of hand, not just in Nairobi, but in other environs of the country, where we have even borders, which was supposed to help in building the economy, not just there, and they do not obey any traffic rules. And now we see they're actively part of these gangs that go around harming us and stabbing Kenyans all over the place. The very, very borders that say they are there to help the economy. Professor Kindiki, what is your plan?
As cases of crime and insecurity in Nairobi and other major cities continue to hit the headlines, CS Kithure Kindiki, in his first public address as the Interior CS, has acknowledged the insecurity challenge in the country and has not minced his words while addressing the criminal elements who have seemed to take over the city.
We have witnessed increasing criminal activity within the city of Nairobi. A small group of criminals armed with knives and other weapons is terrorizing the citizens of this city, as well as a few other urban centers. Those boys who have dared the government and want to tell us that they can take over the city and make it a city of crime, we have also heard you, and therefore we are coming, effective immediately.
Kindiki has pledged to apprehend all criminals and bring sanity in the country by scrapping them out, and has announced the rolling out of a response team against them.
We will continue getting engaged, and we want to warn those who think they can plan to hurt our country. We will go for them before they come to us.
Kindiki has also announced a change of leadership and command in police in Nairobi, saying that all officers under the ministries will be reviewed and their terms. The newly appointed CS has promised to support the police and has urged them to use lawful violence to protect the population.
The leadership and the command of the police has changed the command of the Nairobi City Police deployment effective immediately.
On the banditry menace being witnessed in the North Rift region of the country, Kindiki has said the government has deployed a multifaceted response team to deal with the bandits who have caused community crashes and cattle rustling, saying these must come to an end.
We are rolling out an unprecedented response against criminals, and we are going to go to their hideouts. We will look for the criminals and do to them what the law says we do to criminals in accordance with the law of our country and all other applicable international laws.
Edwin John Mokora, Lookuptv.
Professor Kindiki, go to work already. No more speeches, we've had enough of those. And even as we see this going on, 9 police officers have been implicated in the murder of baby Pendo on the 12th of August 2017. Today, they were arraigned at the Milimani Law Court to answer to these charges. They were, however, released on bond and are set to appear before the magistrate next week to take a plea.
The 9 officers, including Titus Yoma, Titus Mitune, John Chengo, Benjamin Koima, Benjamin Lorema, Volker Edambo, Cyprian Rodi, Josephat Sensira and James Rono, today appeared before Justice Daniel Ogembo for plea taking in a case where they're accused of killing baby Samantha Pendo in the aftermath of the chaos witnessed after the 2017 general elections.
The accused suspects who've been brought to you and have been suspected of committing grievous crimes.
However, the officers did not take plea after the prosecution asked for more time to review the case, with the defense lawyers arguing that their clients have another matter before the court, challenging their charging, and therefore they could not take plea, asking for 2 more months before coming back to court.
And so I do join issue with my colleagues, advocates for the accused, for the suspects, that the plea taking be halted until the constitutional petition is heard and determined. I believe, my lord, that this is a matter that has been in court for the past 5 years, and suspending the same for 1 or 2 months will not be prejudicial to the victims or any party involved thereof.
Our concern from as the prosecution was to ascertain the presence of the suspects in court.
Justice Daniel Ogembo has, however, dismissed their claims, saying it had no impact with the ongoing case, releasing each one of them on a bond on condition they avail themselves for plea taking.
I am of the view that even if plea is taken, the subjects will still be at liberty and will reserve their rights to pursue the intended constitutional petitions, which, if successful, could still even lead to orders that could declare the proceedings herein a nullity. Each of them who are present before the court will execute personal bonds of Kenya shillings 200,000 shillings.
The case, which has been ongoing for over 4 years, will be heard on Monday, the 21st of November, where the suspects are expected to take plea.
It is in the interests of both sides, therefore, that the subjects do take plea hearing and to respond to the charges as urged by the prosecution and supported by counsel watching brief for the victims. In the circumstances, therefore, I am making the following orders. Number 1, that the plea hearing be deferred for 7 days. So we are taking plea on 21st of November. These are the orders of the courts.
Ian Keitani, Lookuptv.
When we watched the process of vetting of cabinet secretaries, it appeared as if they were all looking for the position of chief diplomat. Even the most militant ones were being very polite and asking to be given the jobs. They did get them. Here comes another wish list from Father Christmas in the name of a permanent secretary. And they again will be making nice as they ask for this job, because now the process has begun for the vetting of 51 who have been nominated as principal secretaries by President William Ruto. Appearing before the Finance Committee, the National Treasury Permanent Secretary nominee, Chris Cheptoo, told the committee that if approved, he will broaden the tax base and ensure that everybody is on board. Cheptoo, however, stated the move will not affect hustlers.
4 different committees of the National Assembly kick-started the process of vetting President William Ruto's 51 nominees to the position of principal secretaries as the 11 candidates appeared one by one.
I, Dr. Chris Cheptoo, do swear.
National Treasury PS nominee Chris Cheptoo was the first to face questions from the members of the Finance Committee.
That we get Fuliza, the other loans, which are very expensive.
We work hard to try and retire this expensive loan from commercial sources. I think that would be our priority because it will help us in terms of managing our debt.
While owing the committee members to approve his nomination, Cheptoo told the members that if approved, he will broaden tax bases to ensure that all Kenyans are on board. Cheptoo, however, maintained that taxing will not affect hustlers.
So I think there is a need that we would drive towards widening the tax base by bringing in more. Of course, the informal sector is an area that is of concern because when you look at current statistics, 19 million, we have formal employment. Those who are in formal employment are 19 million Kenyans. Those who have been employed by the private sector are about 2 million. The public sector has only employed 1 million.
Cheptoo also explained his plan to work with the national government to lower the cost of living through increasing agricultural production.
That is an attempt by the government to ensure that cost of production is addressed. And I think that's how to address the issue of high cost of living, at least from the food perspective. But from petroleum, what I'm just saying is that from where I sit, I don't see a possibility that we can do any subsidy around fuel.
Interior Ministry PS nominee Raymond Omolo also sat before the Internal Affairs Committee, where he told the members of the committee that if approved, it will strengthen the National Police Intelligence Mechanism and uphold the use of technology as a way of dealing with the rise of crime cases.
The aspect of population is very important in planning. I wish to know.
The CS nominee for economic planning, Dr. James Muhati, also was among the PSs who showed up.
What is your current income? My current income, I earn a gross of 690,000.
More principal secretaries nominee are expected to appear before the complementary committee of the National Assembly tomorrow in a process that is expected to go until on Friday, where the list will be tabled before the National Assembly for formal approval. Reporting for Lookuptv from the parliamentary buildings in Nairobi, my name is Shadrach Kareria.
That leads us into our short break. We'll be back with more news shortly.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College is focused on being the leading technical and vocational training institute in the region. Our team possesses in-depth knowledge and extensive experience in the industry, offering thorough training in cosmetology, hairdressing, interior design, creative arts, training of trainers, nail technology, and fashion design. With branches in Nairobi, Thika, Meru, Eldoret, and now in Mombasa, our courses ensure that learners are completely equipped with knowledge, competency, and employability skills. Enroll today to be a part of a center of excellence.
Welcome, you're watching The CEO. On this show, where we invite masters, captains of industry.
It's all about working in teams. Customers are happy. It's a good month. The markets are good. I mean, those are very exciting moments.
Ladies and gentlemen who tell us where and how to find money and put money in our pockets, and how to go about doing business in the best possible way.
For me, I'm not serving myself, I'm serving community.
Yippee! Kamata plotting at 349K. Oh yes, for only 349,000 Kenyan shillings, you become a plot owner at the Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki. The Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki is located along the Nanyuki-Rumuruti Road, only 11 minutes from the Cedar Mall and right opposite Mount Kenya Wildlife Estate. This is the best place to establish the getaway home that you have always dreamt about. For every 349,000 that you deposit or pay as installment towards any of Optiven's plot of land, you get 10K cash back instantly. Jaza basi twende Nanyuki. Bigger is indeed better.
PeaceNet Kenya has held an initiative to forge peace among the two warring communities of Samburu and Pokot in the Malaso area of Samburu County. The communities have been urged not to relocate from their homes and give government a chance to stop the violence. This comes a day after President William Ruto promised to end insecurity in the area.
A day after President William Ruto swore to end the bandit attacks in the North Rift counties of West Pokot, Samburu, Baringo, Elgeyo Marakwet, Turkana and Laikipia, and issued a stern warning to the bandits, PeaceNet Kenya has held a peace initiative between the two warring communities of Samburu and Pokot, who have been having protracted wars, which have been a cause of insecurity in the region.
Wale wachache wanasumbua nyinyi na kusumbua sisi. Hawa wachia mimi. Hawa lazima tuwanyoroshe ndio wawache kulete fujo. Sina hiyo jameni. But the majority, 99% of the people in Tiati and the whole of this region are good Kenyans. Wanataka watoto wao wasome. Wanataka waende shule.
PeaceNet Kenya officials have urged the residents of Maraso in Samburu Central not to relocate from the region, stating the government will take action to stabilize peace. Words echoed by Samburu Central Deputy County Commissioner Titus Omanyi, who has said that the meeting was fruitful and he's optimistic that the situation will be under control.
Upande ya Poro kutuliza watu na kuambia watu wakae na amani. Tunajua ile alifanyika, lakini tunaomba communities wasifanye revenge. Tuache serikali ifanye mambo yao, kwa sababu tunajua mipango ya serikali ni mipango kubwa. Na tuna uhakika kwamba tutapata amani katika hii area. Tunapenda pia kuambia watu wasihame makwao, watulie, tuache serikali iko na mpango ya kuincrease NPR hapa. So tunaambia watu wasihame kwao.
We had a meeting with the elders to encourage the residents not to move away in fear of attack from the invaders. So we had a very fruitful discussion and the message will reach everybody in the region.
Moses Lewaso, a resident of Maraso area, has narrated how the bandit attacks have caused them lack of peace and has accused the Pokot community of defying the presidential directives and have taken the law into their arms, causing havoc in the region.
Tatizo ndio imetusumbua sana kwa miaka nyingi. Mambo ya kutokuwa na amani imedumu kwa miaka nyingi. Tumeshaongea mambo ya amani na ndugu zetu wa Pokot ambao wamekuja kututembelea kama wageni kwa hiyo miaka, kwa sababu ya kiangazi tumewakaribisha vizuri. Lakini sasa hii kitu imepinduka, imekuwa tofauti na vile ambavyo walianza. Sasa ni vita ya kila mara, siku mchana, kuwa watu, kuchukua mali. So tumefika mahali kwamba tumechoka, mioyo tumechoka, tumeumia.
Edwin John Mokora, Lookuptv.
Kenyans will be forced to go back to the routine of wearing masks, washing hands, distance and maintaining social distance in adherence to preventive measures to the rise of the 7th wave of COVID-19. This follows a report of over 60 positive cases in a sample of 397 taken in the last 24 hours. It appears Kenyans have dropped their guard.
After the emergence of the first case of the COVID-19 experienced on 12th of March 2020 in the country, one that led to halting of many operations as Kenyans forced to adhere to the regulatory health measures set by the Ministry of Health to secure them against the danger. The same experience is at its first steps as medical experts report states that this is the 7th wave of the COVID-19. The Ministry of Health recorded data in the country shows that by the end of October 31st, there was a recorded data of 34 positive cases in the 452 samples taken during the process of administration that brought about a positivity rate of 7.5% with no deaths recorded. In early November, the cases rose to a number of 106 positive cases and 1,113 samples taken that pulled up the percentage to a positivity rate of 9.5%. The early report from the ministry shows that 60 people tested positive for the virus out of the total number of 397 samples taken, and 2 people lost their lives. In the same course, the Ministry of Health had received more than 29.5 vaccines for administration, where a full vaccination for more than 9.9 million adult population was administered, with 764,504 teenage population between the age of 15 to 18 years receiving a full vaccination. So far, more than 1.6 million people have received the vaccination, with Nairobi recording a higher percentage of 54.6%. The 7th wave, that is airborne, will move faster following the attraction of people's movement in and out of the environments, the same way as the previous waves, including the first wave that was experienced in early August 2020, followed by the second wave late November the same year. Later in the year 2021, mid-April, there came the rise of the third one, and fourth late August, years that are unforgettable to many. In January 2022, the country experienced the 6th wave. The 7th that is penetrating into the country's soil at a time when the nation has lowered down their guard on the health measures, with the ministry of projecting that the virus persists in the next 63 days, that is mid-December and January 2023. Health experts now state that transmission of the virus is at a higher speed and might exceed if the population does not adhere to set regulations. However, the government should intervene in mitigating the rise of the 7th wave. Wear your mask, wash your hands and maintain social distance. Moses Sokech, Lookuptv.
A director of a private company claiming ownership to the recently demolished Westlands property was today arraigned in court. Nathaniel Kipkemboi pleaded not guilty to charges of robbery with violence and was released on a 2 million shilling cash bail. He is among 4 directors managing the company, laying claim to one of the prime areas of the area.
Presiding over the ruling, Justice Oscar Angote released Nathaniel Kipkemboi on a 2 million shilling cash bail after he pleaded not guilty to charges of robbery with violence. Nathaniel Kipkemboi is among the 4 directors managing Lariak Properties, the developer who is said to have conducted the demolitions. Nathaniel and Co. went against the restraining order that was issued on November 3rd earlier this month, preventing the family eviction, claiming to have bought the parcel of land in 2010. The accused told the court that they purchased the multi-million property from Metro Pharmaceuticals, a company owned by Niraj Shah. But Niraj Shah has come out to demystify the claims, as his company has no link to the property, hence deconstructing his association with the property under question. Justice Oscar also summoned the co-accused Zakaria Baraza, who engineered the demolition, to appear before the court over contempt. The court is to pronounce itself over the matter on 17th later this month. John Omari, Lookuptv.
As the debate of whether to have or not to have CDF More than 10 members of parliament benchmarked at Kiharu constituency in Murang'a County on how to employ the National Government Constituency Development Fund to implement development projects in their respective constituencies. The legislators, who were hosted by Kiharu Member of Parliament Ndindi Nyoro, have now promised to deliver on new and ongoing projects using the labor-based model.
The conundrum of the disbursement of the CDF continued to gain momentum as legislators continue to front for its resuscitation. The labor-based model NGCDF on development projects within the constituency has made tremendous transformation, including creating employment opportunities for the locals. Nyoro, who is fronting over the same, added that employment of the model by his counterparts will improve on how they have been using the Constituency Development Fund.
We've been able to achieve optimal results with the little resources we have because we use labor-based here in Kiharu. All the work is done by locals. Even tiling is done by locals. And we took it as our prerogative to train our foodies on how to do tiling. We also trained Kiharu people on how to do professional painting so that we leverage on all the resources that we have. So all the works we've done in our schools, in our institutions, is done locally by local people.
Nyoro has, however, cautioned the MPs from misusing the NGCDF funds and resources, indicating that the labor-based model requires trustworthy and uncorrupt people for its success. This emerges as MPs are now in the process of enriching the model in the constitution with an aim to benefit constituencies all over the country.
What the court stopped is called CDF. That law was made in 2003. Currently, we are not here courtesy of CDF. We are here courtesy of something called NGCDF. That is a totally different law. We are now in the process of entrenching it in the Constitution, not just from the Act. We are going to entrench NGCDF in the Constitution of Kenya. Not because we are members of Parliament and we are oversighting NGCDF, but because of how it has been impactful to our societies.
At the same time, MPs in attendance led by Moya constituency Member of Parliament Mary Maingi have expressed how they are impressed with the projects implemented in Kiharu constituency within a period of less than 4 years through the NGCDF fund.
Today we came to learn from the best managed NGCDF fund, that is Kiharu constituency, and we have learned quite a lot. This Kiharu constituency, the NCDF is so efficiently managed. The projects are managed efficiently, effectively, using very little resources, and we want to make sure that we have done the same for Moya constituency.
The legislators have now promised to commit themselves in implementing development projects within their constituencies, indicating that they will utilize funds and resources allocated to them through the employment of the NGCDF model that they have recently learned.
I know most of us members of Parliament, when we were campaigning, we were using Kiharu as a model, and our constituents were telling us that they would like us to work the way Kiharu has worked. I think I would be failing in my duty if something like this was to happen, and I'm not here so that we benchmark and make sure that we deliver for our constituents, because ultimately, those are the people who put us in Parliament, those are our bosses, and we must serve them to the best of our ability.
Susan Jerry, Lookuptv.
I'm not sure if this is foresight, vision, or lack of an immediate agenda, or just paranoia, but Senate Speaker Emerson Kengi has asked leaders from the Coast region to unite to prepare for the 2027 general elections. Kengi was speaking during a rally to support the construction of the ACK Church in Malindi Town and has assured residents that National Government Development Fund will be entrenched in the Constitution.
Sasa mimi kama Amina ama mimi kama mbunge, swala la CDF likiondolewa, serikali inataka hawa wananchi wangu wasaidike kivipi?
Wiki inayokuja utakuwa na kamati unganishi, joint committee, ya kutoka bunge la kitaifa na kutoka bunge la seneti ili kuangazia swala la CDF na swala la Senate Oversight Fund ili kuweka sawa kisheria. Manake CDF ni wazo zuri, lakini dosari ilikuja pale ambapo mahakama yetu ilisema kwamba inakiuka katiba yetu. As a region, if we don't unite politically, we'll be divided. Tusipoungana kisiasa kama region, tutafika Nairobi tuko vipande vipande. Na tukiwa vipande vipande hatutakuwa na nguvu kule Nairobi. Manake mbunge wa UDA kutoka Pwani akisimama ni mbunge ndani ya serikali. Akishambulia mbunge wa Jubilee ama mbunge wa ODM atampata mbunge Amina Mnyazi. Watoto wetu kutoka Pwani lakini tuwapeleka Nairobi wanaanza kupigana. Tutapata maendeleo sisi?
With that foresight for 2027, we go into another break. We'll be back with more news shortly.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College is focused on being the leading technical and vocational training institute in the region. Our team possesses in-depth knowledge and extensive experience in the industry, offering thorough training in cosmetology, hairdressing, interior design, creative arts, training of trainers, nail technology, and fashion design. With branches in Nairobi, Thika, Meru, Eldoret, and now in Mombasa, our courses ensure that learners are completely equipped with knowledge, competency, and employability skills. Enroll today to be a part of a center of excellence.
Get a chance to wake up as a tourist as you view Mount Kenya every day by buying a plot of land at Wema Gardens, Naru Moru. At only 400 meters off tarmac, this is the right place to build your dream home, cottages or holiday homes. You can also buy this property to give to your children as a special inheritance. Water and electricity are in the vicinity, while neighbors are already building their homes. These plots are specially ready for you with title deeds scheduled to be out in 6 months. Buy a 50 by 100 plot of land at Wema Gardens for only 399,000 Kenya shillings. You can also pay for your plot through our friendly one-year installments plan.
They're inspiring possibilities.
Medical experts are asking you to go immediately for screening for cancer, and this is why.
In a screening and sensitization program in Embu County, health experts have advised for cancer testing in ensuring for early diagnosis.
Ni muhimu sana kuangalia kama kuna uvimbe wowote ambao uko ndani. Inafaa ujitokeza na useme kuna uvimbe ambao si wa kawaida. Jambo lingine inafaa unaangalia pia ni rangi ya hiyo matiti.
Kuna watu ambao wanasema daktari utatupima namna gani? Hapana, usiogope kwa sababu ni kuweka tu kidole kidogo kuangalia ile size ya prostate inatoshanaje.
Hizi ni vitu ama ni vitu za kuashiria kwamba uko na ugonjwa. Kwa hivyo ni lazima uende uangaliwe na daktari haraka ajue ni njia gani atakusaidia.
Meanwhile, the church leaders have challenged political leaders to prioritize godliness in the execution of their duties.
We shall get redemption. And we have been adopted as the children of God. And in everything that we do, just like Paul told the Ephesians, we must remember that we've got inheritance in where?
It's an excuse to say, I'm very poor. I don't have anything to give. In comparison to the widow who had only 2 mites or 2 cents, she gave everything to God. She didn't say, I don't have anything.
The man of the cloth pleaded with the political leaders to serve Kenyans without favoritism.
Instead of spending that money on yourself, you want to give God that money so that the church is built. And when you do that, God will open the door so that you can meet your personal needs.
In other news,
we create space here.
Stakeholders from Malindi in Kilifi County have launched a yoga health training program to promote health and tourism over the coming holidays.
So this is the main aim, that we're inviting people to come and do yoga with us so that we get to know each other, we get to connect to each other, we get to show that this is the good energy that we want Malindi to be.
This program has been launched by the Malindi Welfare Development Association and will be offered every Sunday.
Take a deep breath in.
Pris Kanjari, Lookuptv.
Take a deep breath in.
In the day's business, tea prices at the Mombasa auction slid marginally, but held within the government-set minimum price in this week's sale. This marks the first time in the last 10 weeks that the price of the beverage has declined, ending a streak of good performance.
Data from the East African Tea Trade Association, IATA, shows that a kilogram of tea fetched for 295 shillings, down from a 298 that it achieved in the previous sale. The Ministry of Agriculture set 294 as the minimum price for a kilo of tea for all the Kenya Tea Development Agency, KTDA, teas last year. There was a good general demand at irregular levels, following quality with an aspect of price adjustment for some categories for the 205,620 packages, which translates to 13.8 million kilos on offer, and 138,560 packages, which translates to 9.2 million kilos, which were sold, said IATA. The volumes of tea offered at the auction this week declined by 103,572 kgs to continue a downward trend for the last month. This will cause an economic woe as the volume of tea offered for sale this week declined to the lowest level this year, as it stood at 19%. The quantities of green leaves from the farm are expected to drop in the coming days as the country undergoes a drought phase, which will see farmers prune their tea bushes in preparation for the rainy season in March next year. Though this comes as the price of tea at the auction has for the last 7 weeks been on an upward trend, raising farmers' hopes of a good earning in the current financial year. However, the weekly sale has been witnessing low prices since June this year.
Just give time.
The lower prices were attributed to a decline in demand from buyers owing to the economic woes in the Pakistan and Russia-Ukraine war that resulted in logistic changes. For Look Up Business, Sandrine Mwenda.